Yeah, I'll play it.
Man, it's the hardest question that you're going to be asked on the board, and you need to be ready.
Who's the devil?
Hey, welcome to the channel, friends. Man, as always, I am stoked to see you. So I'm getting ready to go to work, and I'm thinking about the hardest question that I'm going to ask you on the promotion board, on a competition board, on a SAMC board, any interview process that you're going through. This is hands
Black body
down,
radiation.
man. It's the number one question
Maxwell,
that you're going
Ray,
to be asked
and
that you're not ready
Jeans.
for, right? And that's the thing, right? We get in and we deep dive and we peel back the onion on all kinds of questions that we can be
E0,
asked.
E1.
And we know it, man, right? We've read all of the knowledge. We've got
E4,
all the right
E2 to
answers.
E4, excuse me.
We know the questions
Followed
that are
by
going to be asked.
knights moving forward in their in phase,
Yet this one question.
middle phase, or early gambit, mid phase gambit, late phase gambit, and every matrix design on superposition, Schrodinger's multi-world universe in complete form to its value.
Understand what your answer is, and if you can't communicate what your answer is, then the whole thing might just be a wash.
Them
And
Slayer base.
I don't know what it is, man. You know, I think sometimes we just don't think this question is going to be asked of us.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes we think we know.
Well,
what our
I've worked
answer
with
is,
guys
so
with
we don't
blind,
spend any
deaf.
time
Well, they might as well be.
saying
It
the
could have been
words out
selective
loud.
hearing. But
So
when I
this
look in
question
town, I say, is there
why
any
should
way
you
I
be
can get the
promoted?
90-pound girl to
Why
work
should
in the
be
stone mill?
selected
I've
above
trained her.
your peers?
Is there a
Why
way to
should
get
I
a guy with a
choose
broken
you
back or
over
palsy to figure it out in the
anybody
stone
else
mill?
for this position?
Yeah.
Right?
The proof would be Jordan Patterson teaching a
And
guy to lick envelopes. Said it was
it's
one
a
of the hardest
personalized
things he's ever had to
question.
do.
It's probably
It's just
why
a guy,
we
and it gives you an indicating idea on the
requires
test,
us
but it also gives
to
you the
sell and
top-end
pitch
test.
ourselves
Now, if
above
I took,
other people sometimes,
I mean,
right?
that experiment's
And I think we
violated.
don't
That guy's licking
generally,
envelopes, making
we
money,
don't want
doing it
to
simple,
have
but it
to
was a
do
hard
that. We
thing to
don't wanna have
stabilize
to
them out, not get them
show
to,
and demonstrate ego or
no offense,
pride,
but drool over
narcissism
themselves or
anything. And so
do the
we shy away
timeline,
from
bathroom stuff. I mean, we're talking about some serious
being able to
levels
answer this
of
question properly, but it's something that
complications with
words,
the human function at that
whether
point
you
in
type
time.
it out and just see how it feels and sound it out, and then talk to your friends, talk to your battle buddies, talk to your peers, and say, how does this sound? Talk to your senior. You know, when you're getting ready to walk in, talk to a mentor. Say, how does this tell the story that I'm really trying to tell? If I say this, are you going to hear what I want you to hear?
It starts in
A lot of
superposition
times
across
you
the
say
board.
things, and right, because that's how communication is, right?
This
You
house
get
is a
three
nation.
elements to communication.
But if you're on the wrong
What I
wave
said,
of frequency with somebody,
what you heard, and what I meant for you to hear.
he might be just
And too
talking
many
about
times we get in the habit of thinking that if I
detailed
say
information
something,
on an
it's going to be
example.
understood
Fusion,
properly. Well, if
a
social
church,
media
a
has told us
nation.
anything, it's that's not how that works. You need to spend
Well, I
some
wouldn't
time
know
on
from
this.
here.
And
It was like I would
think
have
if
to
you
know
keep a basic
the
definition
the
of
floor model.
leadership
This specifically,
interwoven in
they have
through your answer.
physical human limits. It's like, well, there's a room. How many
find
people
that
can I
it-
get in
it
there
may-
before
it may
COVID
it
nowadays or
certainly can't
something?
be too
But the
long.
realistic is how many
Yeah.
one to a teacher does
You're
it
not gonna get
correlate
hired,
to
man.
on the
You're gonna get
range
fired.
before it starts to distend away or collapse down, starts
But
to
if
be
it's interwoven
one of those
with
others. It's not one of those answers. It would be multiple of those answers, and I'm trying to figure out how to readjust it from
Good
there.
definition of
But I would need whatever
is somehow
building
strong
he's looking
in and
for.
through
And it correlates to
your
real
answer.
people's names, X and Y. Yeah, they're sergeants, but it's sergeant under the spectrum of Dave. Now, what usually triggers Dave off
Army
might be the world today.
is to provide purpose, direction, motivation to accomplish the mission and improve the organization. So, you know, when you're answering your question, if you talk about your performance and your potential has been demonstrated, and that you're ready to enlarge your vision and increase your ability to influence more people in a positive way.
I usually do it with AR-15-0-1 in my backyard. They're not the same thing. I have me in that backyard, but every once in a while we all know somebody. We got a friend come over, we got a system come over, and the rules in my house play the same way as they do in your house, but we could have a task and start from any one of those positions and still get to the same result. This is not hard. That would have grooming policies, that would have, at least at the time, a general for paws inside of here, and how far this would go. I would know in this base, general. A general walking from this base to another general.
I try to make
And here it's quantum time. I would have to retain and wait because I need for the trigger, which he never really gave me time to answer it without a snapshot. So
to make that a reality for how I operate. I believe that that team chief, that first line supervisor, is the cog. That cog is the center of gravity. It's where everything
I'm usually
is
around
nested
Gunny, but I
in. And
would have to
man,
see
I
the
know there's
active
a lot of
locus
pressure
to
that's coming
disagree
down,
with
but
him
it's the
before I
truth,
did.
because that's how my organization deploys.
That could be a person, not a state. Like I said, I'd have to have comprehensive review on every single one of those across the barracks, in any barracks, because it's Army. It's a promotion board. We don't know where this goes. It just might be in the house. I know if it's a stone mill. Amongst it in the house, it only matters in the house, but it can certainly leisure on the resume. At your leisure, you know, whether you decide those costs are right to agree with that. I'm ready to agree with him on this, that he says it's that person. I would go look in that. It's your board to deal with promotions, and you might say this person or this person has some skills FMA that'll adjust you in the renormalizations that I want you to check over.
I know what works for my foxhole and what's not going to work as a team chief.
I'm not saying mine's different.
Good judgment.
It is the same.
You
They're
can trust
Bell's equality
America's
to each other.
Sons and daughters
But
in
Bell,
my charge,
being
to get
equal
out
to a
there
mathematician, might be
with
the
them and to be
Sarge
with
Mage
them.
you was talking about before, or chaplain.
Show them what right looks
The
like.
general would still have to know that.
I want to get out there and counsel soldiers. I want to provide that purpose, direction, and motivation. I want to be with them as we get back to the basics. We start getting after things like counseling,